call the meeting to order. I think everybody's here except for Lonnie. You just like doing that, don't you? At least he didn't hit me.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. No, I can't get up.
Is it naughty?
Y'all,
No!
stop.
It sounds like it
Y'all
was.
two can't sit together.
That seemed implied, I'm asking. Let's go.
Okay. Has everyone reviewed the minutes from last month? The ones that were here, and we do have a few new ones.
Yes.
Let's do this, and then everybody's gonna introduce themselves. We'll play that game.
Okay. Before minutes or after? After?
Sure, let's go ahead and do it after. See if any questions on the minutes, everything correct?
No, that I see.
Can I get a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as they're presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Real quick, let's let everybody introduce themselves. I'm kind of jumping around on this. We have a interim director for downtown that has jumped in and helping us get everything straightened out. I would like everyone to meet Elizabeth Pareto.
I'll give you a little bit of a background. I've actually worked for the city for 14 years. I started in billing and collection, and I'm really excited about this opportunity. So I've been here, what, a week and a few days? Everybody will just bear with me a little bit. I'll get caught up to speed pretty quickly. So I really am excited about the opportunity, and if y'all need me for anything, just reach out, and I'll be happy to help you. And if I don't know the answer, I'll figure it out.
Awesome.
Awesome, welcome.
Do you want to start introducing yourself, sir?
Greg Connell, City Council. This will be my second.
Hi, I'm Tisha Crowe. I guess it's my second meeting since the others weren't making it during the term. And I'm the appointee of Chris, actually, Mr. Haney, Councilman Haney.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning, I'm Kira Bowen. This is my very first meeting. I was appointed by Councilman Vasquez.
Good morning, I'm Sean Rodriguez. I am Denny Swan's appointee.
Hi, I am John Harridge. I was appointed by Mark Monta.
I'm trying to think who appointed me. I've been on the board now like 4 times now over 10 years, so I'm not sure exactly.
It was a councilman.
I know that, but I can't remember exactly who ended up putting my name on the list, but Cruz Castillo, I believe I've been on the board off and on since 2015. Grew up 5 blocks east on 5th Street. One of my businesses is also downtown, and really enjoyed, participating in everything downtown, and so still glad to be here.
Hi, Anthony Rios. I was appointed by Mayor Hovind. My business is also downtown, so it's good to be part of something that we're in downtown. We're 2 blocks away from each other also. So pretty much all of us
And I'm
are
between them.
a few blocks away from each other, so we're good.
Actually, I'm taking it down. I'm right in between you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a little closer to you guys.
yeah.
Not by much.
I'm closer to the mixed drinks.
I'm Chris Haney, and I appointed myself. Because I was selfish that way. I know. I'm from the 5th District, which is right past the Golder right up here. That's my district, and I live about 2 minutes from here. So I'm in downtown basically all the time. I see fireworks for free,
Nice.
and I sit on my porch and I watch them, so.
Very nice.
Thanks, guys. Elizabeth, is this, or either one of you, on the financials, these are last months?
I just want to remind some of you new people to speak into the mics. It wasn't picking up some of the people over here.
Is everybody's
On
mic
that
on?
one too, especially. Thank you.
Got it.
Oh, you know what? It's because they weren't on.
My mic is now on.
Is yours on, Greg?
I was standing at
That's
the wrong
fine.
spot, so I thought I gotta take a
Check,
step over.
check.
Hello?
First for
Yeah, I
all
was
of
gonna
us.
say, it was close enough, but it wasn't on.
Put your lips up.
This isn't current financials, correct?
It is.
It is current ones? Okay.
It's for the month of January.
Brought over there. Okay, I have never gone over financials. So let's look over it, and some of it we may not have, we'll probably have questions that we may have to come back with, because Elizabeth isn't super familiar with them yet. I am not, and Casey had normally done this. On the first one, state of activity.
I know on that sales, I don't know what that is. I have a question mark on that one. I do know where the sponsorships are going to be from from the sales of the tables for the state of downtown, which that will be different next month
On
as
the
well.
event expense, 16,000, do you know what that is?
The event expense, I might be able to help if you want.
Yes.
Yeah, come on.
I'm thinking that's for those barricades, that the price them out for the barricades, the invoice came through after Christmas. And so that came through in January, and they were, I wanna say, 11,000 something. So there was some residual expenses from the parade that came through in January.
So are we not setting this up through the city?
Excuse me?
We're not setting barricades up through the city?
No. City doesn't have the barricades. When we do parades and other things like that, we have to have the water barricades.
Yep.
And with the water barricades, we do not have them. Casey, Mr. Romero, and myself had discussed at one time purchasing the water barricades. I don't remember the price. They, $300 or $400, they weren't that expensive. And the city was willing to store them, deliver them, fill them up with water, and put them back for us. And that way, those barricades will also be used for other events downtown, and we don't have to rent them. And we're thinking like 4 or 5 uses, we would pay for them. So in 1 year, we would pay for them.
That's
That was
quite
in the process, and I'm not sure where that went.
So,
That's something we can,
so were they not purchased? Were they rented after all?
they were just
Right.
rented.
We have always rented them, and
Yeah,
we were in the
but-
process of purchasing, and I'm not sure what happened with that.
Okay.
That would either be a Casey question, Marrero question, which they're gone, so.
We can make a note and I'll
Make a
get that
note.
back.
Let's look at the barricades and see kind of where we were on that.
Is there a way we can get a count on how many we need?
Yep.
We should be able to find an invoice on how many we rented, and that should give us a real good
That'd be-
indication.
Because on that, we could always buy a portion of them,
That's true.
Just mark them different,
The only time we're gonna need that many is for the Christmas
the
parade.
Christmas parade.
Will that give us time to stock them up then?
Right. So it may be if they're only used once a year, we do enough to do all the events downtown, Fandango, and all the other events we do. And maybe Christmas, we may still have to rent them, because also city is very short on storage also, and I don't think they'd be
Yeah.
super happy when we're like, hey, store 100 of these for us.
We need to ensure that, I'm assuming, did you say parks? We need to ensure that the city has the resource to, or the labor availability to get them all set up. I agree, if we can invest in them and use them over and over, that's a great idea. Now, we were only using them once or twice a year for a period of time, and I assume that's why they were rented and not purchased, but it only makes sense if we're gonna have the labor power to
It was the
I
street
think the
department
city.
that was doing it. It was streets.
Yeah, because that's a plus 16,000 for us by buying them, instead, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
big major deal.
But there have been events where, it was DOI, volunteered board members picking up trash, putting out receptacles, and doing a lot of things,
Sure.
because the city departments, I don't know if they offered or not, but they didn't, they weren't there to help. And so, but, today's a new day, right? So,
Right, absolutely.
What would be just a rough estimate of how many of those barricades we use for the parade? How many were
That's
talking
quite
about?
a bit.
it takes, how many to close a street,
Like
John?
4 of them, no?
It's four.
Four?
Say at least 4.
It takes 4 to
per
close a
street.
street. And that blocks off the street.
So at least
so-
16.
At least.
Yeah, but then now we're doing 3 blocks.
Yeah, and it also depends.
Plus cross
which
streets.
event.
And the side streets.
Yeah.
And the
It depends
sides.
which
Do you know how much
event.
they were charging per barricade?
I don't know the individual prices for them.
Okay, I was
We can get
thinking
that.
we could do the math real quick,
Yeah.
but,
I know like Fandango's a lot more, but if it's like tacos and tequila or one of the smaller events, it's gonna be less barricades. But what we had done before is when they delivered them, the city was filling them up. Parks Department would bring a water, no, it was City Department, traffic.
yeah,
It would bring a truck and fill them up for us.
I know it's the city filling them up.
Right, right. Okay.
I can definitely work on that
Let's-
and have that for the next meeting.
Yeah,
We'll
let's
know
do-
exactly how many we rented and what department could store it and how much it would be to purchase them if we needed to, so we can compare both.
That'd be awesome.
Can we also guesstimate how many we're gonna need per event? That way we'll know how many, if we decide to purchase them, we would know we need so many by March, so many by June, so many by, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're
I think
not
that might
short.
be helpful for a schedule as well, because like you say, if we only use half of them all the way up till Christmas, then,
Right. Okay, so if y'all will look and just kind of see how many we use on each event.
We can
and go
definitely
from
do
there.
that.
Yeah.
thank you.
So, last month, we were minus $13,000 because that was a rollover from the Christmas break, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And on the stated downtown expenses that we have 2579, do we know what was paid out for that?
I don't have a breakdown in front of me, some of it. I know that we can pay for the stage, the
That one, I believe, was 8,000.
flower,
I know we had a $500 deposit for the food, and I do not recall how much it was for the Rose Building.
3,000,
38, something
38,
like that.
okay.
1,300, and 1,500 was paid also for the flowers. Flowers and.
Okay, okay. And we'll jump over to that in a little while when we get into that event, if y'all don't mind. So again, it shows our revenue minus 13 down. Shows our bank account at 216,937. And that's just our nonprofit account, correct?
Yes,
The city does their own accounting and takes care of their account. Okay, thank
that's
you.
correct.
And then that breaks down on that side. So with liabilities is 217,064. So we don't show any income so far this month, correct?
Well, we don't have any February.
We don't have.
There's no data from February.
Okay. Okay.
This is the January.
And right now, if y'all need bank statements, I can get on that. We'll be changing that after these minutes are done. Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the financials?
Motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Remember last time we talked about moving 100K to the money market? When are we going to, I realize things have changed, but there was still a vote, so I'm trying to figure out, are you gonna start looking at that about the same time, since you're gonna have to go down anyway and make changes on signature cards?
That's on number 5, old
I was gonna
business.
say, I
Look at
think,
you.
I think
Look
it's
at
on
you,
here.
you're all together.
Sometimes-
I'm sorry, I
sometimes-
just jumped ahead,
sometimes,
I
not always.
apologize.
Next thing, we did have, everyone knows, we had a resignation of Casey Hallmark, our director, and also our event coordinator and marketing person went with her. So we have Elizabeth that has jumped in feet first. She kind of got thrown in the fire. She's really worked her butt off and trying super hard. And again, I want to say thank you for all you've done for us.
Yes, thank
No,
you,
you're very welcome.
Indeed.
thank you.
I'm sorry you got trained that way, but you're learning quick.
I am, I really am.
Also, I need someone to possibly make a motion for me. We're going to remove Casey from the checking account, and we're going to add Elizabeth to the checking account.
I
Motion.
Second,
Me. I'll second.
you're not on our board, you can't.
Oh, sorry.
He tried.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
I'm
As
sorry.
soon as they get the minutes, I have someone that we can talk to at Southwest Bank. They can do it all digital. You won't have to go down there. It'll be really easy.
So is it 2 signers or 3 that are gonna be on there?
It's 2. We haven't added him yet either, so we're gonna add both of y'all at the same time.
Okay.
So that was in last month's minutes, so if they need minutes from that one also, saying who we were gonna add, and then, so we'll add both of you too. So everything will need 2 signatures. Do you wanna do the event updates? Do you want me to do the event updates, or do we wanna do them together?
I think I have a fair game on most of them, and if you wanna jump in, we're
Awesome, okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So, the state of downtown, was postponed. It is not canceled, and that's what we relayed to everybody that we reached out to. We just want to reschedule it. The reason that we felt that, it was the best way to do this was because lack of sales. We had a total of maybe 10 sales, 8 were tables, and 2 were individual tickets. In the time leading up to the 23rd, it just seemed like we were not going to have the sales for the tables, and it didn't look from what we could see that anybody had been reached out. We had major businesses and organizations like Odessa College that had not been reached out to at all. So, and this was just so last minute, and these are sponsors that always show up. They always have a table, and they hadn't even been reached. So instead of just trying to put it together for the sake of the date, I think it was just something that it seemed better to, let's postpone it, let's give us some time, and let's get this reorganized again. As far as the vendors, everybody has said that they're willing to work with us on a different date.
Oh, wonderful. When do we normally start working on that? I know that's a John question.
You worked several months before, when it went out, several months before. As soon as we secure the date, emails go out saying, this is the date, this is what we're doing, we're looking for sponsors selling tables and other things. And not everybody responds to your email.
Sure.
So that is when you call and say, hey, did you receive this
Yeah.
email? And you make that personal phone call. The phone calls were not made. I'm not sure if the emails even went out.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I know social media, it did go out saying save the date and doing sponsorships and other things. But once Elizabeth and I finally got into the program to see where we were and figured it out, and looked at it, there was 7, 8 tables
Yep.
and 2
From the social
individual
media,
tickets.
maybe.
There is a total of 30 tables available. Every year we've had this, we have sold out. It was at the Rose Building for several years, and it was moved to the Marriott. And when we moved to the Marriott, it was a lot larger space, so we had a lot more tables.
Yeah.
We did not sell out there, but I think we sold 50-something tables when it was at the Marriott. But it was so expensive, and it was not profitable. We moved it back to the Rose Building, and it was there the last couple of years, and it's always sold out.
Okay.
So we kind of decided, I had talked to Gopi and Mata. I said, instead of having this event for 10 tables, I think we need to postpone where we can get the marketing out there, so we do have a packed house when we do it.
Okay.
We've also discussed moving it to the fall. We have not picked a date, and that's one thing we do need to discuss. Do we want to wait till the fall? Do we want to try to do it sooner?
What's the advantage of waiting that long?
Looking at the event calendar.
That's
so
what I
we
was
have
about to
going-
ask. What is that? I know we had it out last time. Does anyone have it handy still?
Most of it's here.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I see. Easter, Mudbug, April, so
I mean,
that's
we don't want it in the summer. There's so much going on anyway.
April, May. Well, yeah, 'cause you have Hot Summer Nights, you have Fandango, and the Lowriders.
Only ask the question because usually it's an hour-and-a-half event at lunch during the week. That doesn't affect any
That's true.
organized event we have. My preference is that we don't wait too long. we may have new faces and a little bit of reorganization happening. But downtown Odessa's still on the move, and we're here, and we're present, ready to go. To me, like, I would think that, you know, if we need to postpone 60 or 90 days, get energized with the, you know, soliciting for sponsorships and that kind of thing, I totally get that. If we do wait till the fall, maybe we repackage how State of Downtown happens. Maybe it is a dinner,
A
or
new
maybe
brand.
it is something that's a little different.
Change it up.
That was kind of the idea of what
That
we
was-
talked about, was
right.
making a
To
bigger
change it
gala,
up.
a bigger event.
I'm on board with
yeah.
that, but if it's the exact same thing, waiting longer than 60, 90 days,
Yeah.
it seems like there's something wrong with us if we were to do that, in
If
my
we do a
opinion.
dinner, then, because people do travel in the summer so much though, I think it might be wise to wait past summer.
Oh, I agree. I don't think it happens in the summer. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
if we package the same that we've
Might
done
do
for the last few years, I don't think we
September.
wait that long, but if we're gonna have a different look at it, then the fall does make sense. I mean, I agree with that.
Originally, it was a dinner. And the reason it was started was when we were developing the Marriott. The city was purchasing buildings, we had the Marriott coming in, we had the conference center coming in. And it was what's coming in, what are we doing, what's new, what's growing, and a few other things like that.
And the speakers were,
The speaker,
gosh, I don't wanna say on a different level, but, had a lot more gravity to the speakers.
Early on, is that what
early
you're
on.
saying?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
and the speaker that we do have coming in this year, she is a Realtor, and I forgot what city she's from. At Texas Downtown.
Bryan,
her-
Texas.
One of her seminars.
Is it Bryan, Texas?
And it's all about downtown, about
Brent-
how to grow your
I don't
downtown, how to
remember.
do it different. Like, the same stores you're gonna put in a mall, they're not gonna go in your downtown. And how her and her daughter have purchased several buildings, and they have really grown their downtown. And it's also the success of theirs and how they've done it. And I think she is a great speaker. Speakers we've had in the past were quite expensive,
Yeah,
but
the
they were
first-
very good.
First couple, yeah.
Now, this speaker, she did agree to come in with no charge and just a donation to
Gratis.
one of her organizations. However, she did pay for her plane ticket out of pocket, and that was the only thing that we weren't sure if we could maybe reimburse her that.
Yeah, we should.
I agree.
I think
That
definitely.
I
was,
think we're gonna have to
she
make a
sent me
motion to do
that,
that.
and it's 504, and that we would be reimbursing her if that would be okay.
I'd say we do.
I say we do.
So if we
The hotel
do a
expenses of it
dinner,
would- 'cause that was
should
what
we
she-
add something to it to make up for us postponing it? I mean, like,
It should be repackaged a little bit.
something different to where it's not just the same, and maybe give them a little more to the dinner? I mean, I don't know what, but
We originally started as a dinner, and then we moved it to
To
a lunch,
lunch.
and the price went up.
oh, wow.
Are we talking about her flight that she can't cancel, or her flight for whenever she comes?
No, it's the one that she cannot cancel because she
Okay.
bought a non-refundable ticket, so it would
Gotcha.
be cheaper for her.
Gotcha.
That's what she
It'll
said,
probably
you
be
know.
credited to her, and hopefully she can use it in the future. But I believe we should pay for that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe, and right now, we don't have a play committee. Do we make the decision what to do, how to do it? Or do we want to get play committee involved some, saying, what's going on, how do y'all want to repackage this? I think it would be up to us to pick a date and then inform the play committee. We want something a little different and maybe give them some direction.
Okay.
Does that work for y'all?
Is there any way to strategize this to give ourselves so many days to see how many tables we can sell, to know when we can do it? You know, to kind of see, you know what,
If this is marketed correctly,
it'll go
it will
quick.
sell out.
Yeah.
I would think, I'm totally guessing here. I would think that 50%, John, 60% of those buying tables are the same people that have bought tables the last 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
would
so I'm
think
not
so,
going
yes.
anywhere.
And so I think there should be a period of time where they are solicited, right? But we haven't had to worry about this, actually.
This has never been a problem
Yeah,
in the past.
so I'm not exactly sure what's happened in the last 60 days, but when, obviously I'm on the board, but, I mean, I received the email first week of December, and we signed up, and
So it went out at least 2 months prior, yeah.
it's really, I mean, I could check, I mean, I could look.
That's why almost I'm thinking, if we look at the event calendar, what we have coming up, maybe do it in September, maybe do it in the evening.
That's what I was thinking.
It's in September.
where we
Because
do
if
it
you
a
look at the
little-
other calendar
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
it
And
seems
That's
to
what I
work.
talked to Elizabeth about, where she gets the chamber's calendar, this one's calendar, that one's calendar, where we're not doing everything on the same day, so we've got 10 million concerts and everything going on.
I think back to what Cruz said, because if we wait an X amount of time, it looks like there might be something wrong. I think putting it in the fall and making it more extravagant would be something that would cover that would make it look like, hey,
Make
look,
up for it.
we're doing
Right.
something bigger and better, and that's why we're putting it in a different time.
September is the wrong month to have any, we were
I do
trying
agree
to
with
run
that.
trying to find an open date around anything and everything that was going on in September. September's is a busy, busy month in Odessa at that time. We were trying to find open dates, and finally we just had to just say, okay, let's just do it during the week.
We'd still do it during the week though, right? Either way.
Yeah, I would still do it probably on a Thursday.
Yeah, it's not a Friday or Saturday
It's not
type
a-
of
okay.
event.
yeah.
Thursday.
You get better attendance when it's not on the weekend.
Yeah.
I received an email from Savannah and Casey December 15th, so 60 days before the event, and that's what I assumed, soliciting sponsorship, so now we just don't know who
Any
all that
follow-up.
went
If
to,
all the
right,
other
and
emails
follow-up,
went out,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I got access to the emails and I'm still going through them.
want me
I
to
just
forward
got
this?
that for the,
I can
yes,
forward it
yes,
to you.
absolutely, I would appreciate that. I do have access to their emails now, but it is, it takes a little bit to read and go down, and with there being two of them that I'm trying to go through, I found a little bit. But hopefully I can probably chase that down a little bit better on who was already approached and who wasn't as well.
So isn't everyone in agreement? Let's do it September, a Thursday in September, and allow Elizabeth to look at dates and see what's going on in the city to see when that works.
And we're moving to in the evening, not daytime.
Right.
It would be dinner, yes.
I'm good with that. Do you want to check with her to make sure Thursday works best? Since we already have a speaker, we need to work with her schedule as well, because if she says
And
maybe.
venue.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
venue.
That's
And
what
the
I'm
venue.
thinking, that's what I do for my events. I check my speaker and my venue, and then I solidify a date.
So, venue, speaker, and then see what else is going on in town,
Yeah.
and then pick a date.
Perfect, sounds good.
And so next
It just gives
month
us
you
a
can
bit more
tell us when
flexibility
we're
if we
doing
do it that way.
That works. We'll get moving on that.
Thank you.
Now, the Easter, we are going to do the Easter egg hunt as same way it was set up last year, except they ordered double the amount of eggs. And I double checked with Parks, they do have 40,000 eggs ready to go for this event. We are going to start working on the marketing and getting the sponsorships on that. I don't know too much about the mud bugs. I don't know, John.
On some
do
of
you-
these partnered events, I think you have a list. If not, you and I can reach out, talk to them and see
Okay.
where we're at on those events,
Right.
on the partnered events.
Same thing with tacos and tequila. I have not reached out to them on that one. Mule Fest, I did have a meeting with Randy Ham yesterday. So he sort of caught me up to speed. We are going to set up a date where we're going to go out and reach out and sort of walk the plan and get everything laid out with that as well. And I started my list of what we've got to do on our side to plan for that one. So that one, I know it's on the 13th. He was explaining to me the layout and the maps and things like that. So I think this week, if not, we'll probably walk that and we'll know exactly how many barricades and everything we need to get going. I know for sure we need to get lighting for the muralists because he says they're going to be here for about a week and they'll be working into the night. So that's something that we will take care of. The hot summer nights is another discussion that we had with him yesterday. He is really moving towards this First Fridays. He sort of gave me a little update on how the idea it is, and it looks like they're not going to have this hot summer nights at all moving forward, at least not from their end. I don't know how y'all feel about that, or
I have
how
been
it
a part of that discussion. I like the first Fridays. I'll be we've looked at, third Thursdays, first Fridays or something, that date's gonna be picked, but for the entire year, when will it start? Probably in 2 or 3 months, it's not gonna start immediately. And that would consist of businesses downtown opening up that first Friday. That's when they'd say, hey, Cruz, can we have an artist in your front foyer? Businesses that aren't normally open to have different things, so on first Fridays, we've got it going on that way. We will still have music and a stage somewhere, but instead of Odessa Arts running it or DOI running it, we would start it, get it going, and then pretty much the merchants are gonna run it themselves.
Excellent.
Everyone's responsible for their own thing.
Yes,
Well, that way they
individual.
get more
yeah,
hands-on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The vendors would be responsible for whatever they wanted to do, whether it was a comedian was it a music group, was it an art show, was it a tasting? It would be up to them to schedule it themselves. In our department, our part would be just to gather that information and send out the marketing.
And assist.
And assist, absolutely.
First Fridays would replace Hot Summer then?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Or third
Okay.
Thursdays or
Yeah.
whatever it is they.
And it
Second
would be
Saturday.
first Fridays
Anything with the same.
all year long. It wouldn't just be through Hot
Right.
Summer Night's normal
So there'd be
schedule.
12 of
This
them.
would be something that would be 12 of them a year, starting. They do something like that similar in Lubbock. It's been going on for 5 to 6 years, and it's done well. So the first couple will be okay. We're gonna have to make sure the first couple start really well, where people do
Oh,
come
yeah.
back. So the first couple, we will be very much involved, Odessa Arts and DOI, to get it off the ground and to get it rolling.
Let's see, now the Fandango. This one is probably one of the biggest ones on the list. I have confirmed 2 of the artists that we have. I believe we still need to look for an opener for the artist. I reached out to one of them today, emailed the contract. We're moving forward on that as well. I have a lot more to study on this one, to be very honest with all of y'all. She did leave a really big notebook, and that's something that I'm going to study and keep going with. Any suggestions, anything like that, I would gladly be open to it.
And I think we talked about that the last time.
Yeah, we
I-
did.
I had mentioned to Casey, when we had concerts, we had a lot of upcoming bands that just wanted to show for people to hear them, and they would actually come play for free.
For free, okay.
So there's a lot of upcoming, just kind of look in a country, whatever kind of
A
genre
mix.
we're gonna have.
Right.
And just reach out to them and say, you know what, you have a big stage, let people hear your music, and a lot of them come out and just do it for free, just to play.
Are you talking that in place of a headliner?
No, not in place, but like an opener.
We
or
have the
just
headliner in
somebody-
place,
Yeah, not
so-
in place of
The
a
headliner's
headliner, 'cause
the
that's
rap,
what's gonna
right?
bring everybody.
It's that MB Riders.
Yeah, I think that's what they mentioned or something like that.
Yeah, because she did clarify, because if any of you, and I have heard the music, it can be quite explicit, but she said that they specifically addressed that.
Yes,
And it will be the family-friendly.
Yes, and it will be, because,
non-explicit, yeah.
Right.
yeah. I don't have little people at home anymore, but there will be a lot of people,
There will
little
be.
people out there.
I have 4 little
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that,
I mean, but if we could come across a band or 2 that would do it for free, that's just more music.
absolutely.
Yes.
that's right.
And that's a
And you can
win-win.
get more diversity. just
I
with one.
agree.
Yes.
Another
And you
thing,
might could
the
split it with
bands that are upcoming that are free, to my understanding, will be at the Ector Theater, and that's Battle of the Bands. So that's where they'll have Battle of the Bands going on at the same time, so we'll have more than one music
Oh,
going on at time.
The only problem with that, though, I think that's a great idea, but when they're having Battle of the Bands at Ector, the public is not able to enjoy or hear or learn about who's playing, right? And so, I recall Fandango where you had the main stage, and then, maybe on Fourth and Grant, the city stage was parallel to Grant, and you did have it was a second stage, a smaller stage, and I remember there were several local bands that would play.
I remember that.
Just because the 2 bands on the main stage would set up and all of that, it just didn't work for multiple bands to play.
On one.
And so you had your two headliners, Tejano, whatever it was, and then the other stage. And I can't remember exactly why we went away from the other stage, because I remember some of the bands that were playing on the small stage, I don't even think they charged $300 or
Yeah,
$500. They were doing it for free, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I do
Right.
remember having two stages.
But then you
out
have
there.
people with the different genre, maybe they don't wanna hear that
No, that's
music, but
right.
then they got this.
It's a
stage
beautiful
that-
idea. I just don't know why we
Got
We
away.
moved away
where the
from
small
it,
stage
yeah.
fell off, I don't know why. I can look at my phone, probably in 2017. 16, 17 is probably the last time we saw the small stage.
Are we adding streets?
I'm gonna have to get with Elizabeth and Gopi on that, because last year it was too small, and the design was not the best, and it was one design, one layout for the map, and changed, all of a sudden, one person made all the changes, and it wasn't agreed upon.
Right.
And that's something we were trying to get done as soon as possible, because she's gotta have a map before she can start
yeah.
filling up,
Sure.
knowing where
Right.
things go.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
So I think that's something, probably in the next week, if
Okay.
you and Gopi and I can walk it, look at it, or do whatever, and we'll discuss what we did last year, what worked, what didn't work, and see what we need to do different.
Cause there was a lot of people.
There's a whole lot of people.
There was a ton of people last year.
Yes.
And you need more space, you need more everything, more vendors, we need more everything.
It was actually cut off at Fifth Street. It was originally towards Sixth, and it was cut off at Fifth Street. So if we expand out to Sixth Street, and that covers a lot more area, more importantly, it makes sure that all the restaurants and retail stores that are there are involved in the actual map. They were left off last year.
And that event actually has a complete fence around it, right? Not just street barriers. It has a complete fence.
If there's alcohol served downtown, and the big thing that changed about, we changed that last year. 10 years ago, or when we did Fandango years and years ago, the volunteers, we got TABC certified, we sold the beer. We sold it from troughs.
And
And
took
what
tickets.
did not sell, we couldn't send back. It didn't go great at all. That's why DOI at one time had like 50 cases of champagne, because it didn't sell. So then they decided we're gonna hire bartenders and another company to do it, and they're gonna sell it. They made the profit, but we paid them. Didn't understand that. Last year is the first year we totally changed it and asked our downtown bars to get a temporary off their liquor license and them to set up a bar. Because what they don't sell, they can take back.
Sure.
So if there is liquor served downtown, the entire perimeter has to be enclosed with fencing. And you only have to have so many
Liability.
gates to come in or out. That is very, very expensive. So, that's another thing that we.
The focus should be to support those downtown businesses, so you
Right,
want.
and it did, and we gave first option to the downtown businesses to do it before we reached out to anyone else. And I believe most of it was.
Yeah.
We had homemade wines, we had
Roosters,
the
the
house, we had
house.
roosters, so we had several that did that.
Okay.
And I believe the house opened more than one location. Some of them did, they could open up a couple of them.
Cause the house has two places, this one.
Well, the house had two different bars.
Yes, in
Most
Lorenzo and
people
the house.
should.
Right,
So-
we really should.
So that is the reason on that, unless we're a, what is it called,
Entertainment district.
if our wonderful council would get together and make us an entertainment district.
Now you're part of it.
I like that. I like
Now
that.
you're a part,
Now
I love
you're
that.
part-
Okay, now you
Amy,
can
that's
talk.
right down your alley.
So that is something that Casey had talked to the chief of police about before, about doing an entertainment district. He was a little against it because of lighting and a few other things.
I was gonna ask what he felt, cause that's gonna matter to them a lot.
So that's something we need to talk about again, and if it is about the lighting, let's see what we can do to change it.
Okay,
One person that was previously with the city and told me, it's a state highway, you can't do it.
remember
Fredericksburg does, this one does, that one does. So if we were an entertainment district, we no longer have to pay for that chain link fence.
Right.
And you mentioned selling liquor, not just beer, right? If you're selling liquor, you gotta have a fence, or is it just beer or whatever?
Any
alcohol,
alcohol.
period.
Okay.
It's a liability question.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Alcohol.
This may be, but here's a way you can get all your sponsors, the beer sponsors, anybody, if they wanna sponsor this event, then they get the all name recognition, they get their beer first out here, they get control. And so that way you have this money coming in and it's controlled. And so they're doing it, and then you don't have to worry about things having to go back, because they'll take their own beer back.
But in doing that, if we were selling the beer, it would be that way. But it's homemade wine selling it, the house is selling it, this one's selling it. So
It's
now-
downtown businesses.
So now their businesses, they can take it back to their business. That's why we switched it from us, downtown Odessa selling it, to we want the bars to sell it, because what they don't sell, they can take back in their business.
Then Odessa's not stuck with.
Right.
A million cases of pink champagne.
That they already paid for, they wasted the money
That's
for.
why every
It's a
event
a
has.
trade-off for
champagne.
revenue, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I overstepped.
So on Fandango, let's start with the map and let's get together. And you should have copies of last year's maps. And let's discuss what worked and what didn't work and move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, in addition to that one, I am also in contact with the company that does the fireworks display. I thought about it and I was like, well, if it's a firecracker Fandango, we should have fireworks. So we're-
Good thought there. I like that.
So it's one of the first things I was like, we're tracking that down and we found the company and we're moving
funny.
forward on that as well. So
Very good.
we're getting going. I know last time in the minutes, I went back and I watched them and I read them about the time. Are we okay with the changing of the times? Did that ever get settled?
You brought that up, didn't you, Sean, about the
We did, we talked about
hours?
that. Yeah,
thought we
we,
did.
I think initially we opened at, the
6 to
gates at-
10.
Yeah, it was 6 to 10. I think we discussed, keeping it open until 11, because the second the fireworks were done, they were running everybody out of the streets, and, I think just to give it a little bit more time, for people to get out and, and be able to, basically, once the last firework went off, they were clearing everybody
They were
out,
clearing.
and it was kind of one of those things
They
like,
were
wait a minute,
pushing them
hold on
out.
a second.
A
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
a big part of what we talked about was the food trucks and all of that.
Yeah.
Not being
Yes.
able to sell anymore right at that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say music still stops at 10.
Okay.
But let the food trucks and everybody else still do whatever till
Absolutely.
11.
Finish on.
To about till
Yeah,
11?
finish
Okay.
off till 11 and, yeah.
Getting back to the music thing, of course, the tavern is designed, my tavern is designed so that we can have a band playing upstairs down onto the street. I'm more than perfectly willing to volunteer that for any band that wants to play up there free. I'll donate that. I don't mind paying for it either, but what I mean is we could put a band there if that's what,
That might
Cruz
be our
was talking
second
about having
stage.
something.
That could be
Yeah.
used like
Oh.
a second
And
stage.
we could do that,
Oh, I was
yeah.
thinking a third stage.
Yeah, yeah, because we'll be open by then, so we'll,
Okay.
we can volunteer something for Grant Street. If you have everything over on Fourth, then you can have something over
Yeah.
here on Grant Street also as well, and then maybe something on Texas, where you can have 3 different bands in 3 different areas.
genres going on. Yeah, I agree.
That
Good
sounds
idea.
great. Okay, we'll add that to the list as well.
Okay.
The others, I really don't have too much on the others. For the lowriders, I still need to make contact with them. The West Texas Fest is the same thing. The treats on the streets, I know runs about the same way as the egg hunt, so we'll work on that. And then the parade, of course, we'll get going a few months before that to get everything organized.
I have a question on the lowriders against bullying. Wasn't there a big
Yeah,
fallout last year with that?
they got that straightened out, I think.
Did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
they, I think the issue they had was with the police getting paid from the people running the event. They've got that straightened out between them and the police. I think the big issue was knowing whether the police force was actually gonna cover their event again so that they could do it, so that had to be clarified. But I think that they did come to an agreement and everything, so they are willing to work together. So I think there was just some miscommunication on
Miscommunications.
how they were being paid, so.
And a big problem also was the people putting on the event were stupid drunk.
Super
Yeah.
crazy drunk.
There
Crazy
was,
drunk.
there was some fights, I think.
Fights and other stuff, and they were drunk, so I truly think if we do any kind of contracts with them and do that again, it needs to say whoever is in charge of the event has
Takes
to stay sober.
responsibility.
I know it was approved. I personally was against it being approved for them for this next year because of, how they conducted themselves. I mean, it was complete hypocrisy to their actual meaning of their event.
The point of the
Yeah,
whole
their event was
yeah.
against bullying, and they were out
Exactly.
there fighting and bullying cops and,
But
doing all kinds of stuff. And so-
Being that it's downtown also pushes it that it's something we're
Right,
doing.
right,
And we hadn't,
right.
it's not.
So,
Yeah.
I wanna be really careful with partnered events, if it sheds a bad light on downtown, I don't want them. because it sheds a bad light on all of us.
Absolutely.
Even though it's a partnered event, basically it's their event, you help them with set it up and get permits and other things. People thinks it's a DOI
It's a
putting it
city
on.
thing.
It's a
Yeah,
city event.
yeah, because the location, absolutely.
And Michael Marrero and Casey and I believe Police Chief talked to them about what had happened before and said this will not happen again. And I think if it happens again, it's okay to ask the police department, shut it down.
Yeah.
It's over. I mean, we're not gonna put up with that.
Even though it's their event, it's in our downtown, so
Right,
It's, they have to get a permit from the city to have an event downtown. So if there's a problem, the city can pull that permit.
Yep.
Okay,
okay, alrighty.
it's modest district, we'll make him do it. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, old business. Okay, moving forward. With everything happening, we know how much money we've got in the account. Do y'all still want to move forward with opening the money market account?
I do. I
I
think
do.
it's
I
wise.
do.
Say yes.
Okay. When Casey had spoke to someone at Southwest Bank about the money market account, let's see, Joyce is a person that works there that is phenomenal. I will give you her number.
Okay,
She can open accounts, she can do money markets, she can do anything. She does a lot of their marketing. She really takes care of me, and she'll take care of you also, so we can ask her.
perfect.
And still will transfer $100,000 from DOI to Southwest Bank. We voted on that last month.
We did.
We did, okay.
Alrighty.
Discuss updates on the 380 agreement with the J.C. Penney lot. Okay, this one, I've learned a whole lot about stuff in the last 2 weeks. We had an agreement with an individual to purchase the lot, basically get the lot for free, and they were gonna build a building, bars and restaurants on that property. They could not get all financing in their name because their businesses were too new. So they had spoke to Elizabeth and myself about coming back at the city with an investor to purchase or build the building and get the lot for free. And it's for 4 years is what it is, and they've got to maintain so many jobs, maintain
It's
so
an
many
additional
businesses.
20, I believe.
Right. So that is something that Elizabeth and I have spoke to Gopi about, which is really not us, it's more Gopi and our city council. So on that, right now, the contract was never signed by Michael Marrero, so they do not have a contract.
Okay.
So on that, it's no contract at this time. I will tell you, for some reason now, I'm getting the calls on all the vacant land, how they get it. And I've talked to a couple others. One thing that I'll say that I was against also, I'm okay with them getting the land for free if they're building something and doing it, I'm cool with that. The city had valued those 3 lots at $40,000. It should be about $150,000. So on that 380 agreement, if they did something they weren't supposed to, didn't keep the employees, didn't keep the business, all they have to do is pay the city back $40,000. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to, them or anyone else. I think it should be a fair market value, not an ECAD value,
Agreed.
to do that, to make sure the businesses do stay there, do keep the employees, and we hold their feet to their fire a little more. But again, I'm not a council member, I don't work for the city, but the current agreement is not in effect. So I think council and Gopi are gonna talk about it, or somebody's gonna talk about how to move forward on it. So,
Do we have current appraisals on those properties,
know.
or?
we do not have
In the
appraisals on
downtown
it,
area.
but we can run numbers. We can run.
Now, can I speak on it even though I'm part of that?
Sure, yeah.
The whole deal that Michael had said is they were gonna have to, by law, since it's a city, get appraisals on it and work off of those numbers. It wasn't the 40, how you were saying, Michael said it had to be appraised and then work off of those numbers.
I have seen the actual
Yeah.
contract. In the contract, it said 40.
Okay, we were
It did.
told different, that's
Yeah.
why.
In the contract, it did say 40. So,
Which is better 40 than, of course, the appraisal, but still, I thought we were
right.
going with the
I
appraisal.
mean, and it's just, if whoever buys it or builds on it does something that they're not supposed to do, I mean, if they wanted to all of a sudden put in a, I don't know, a marijuana growing facility that's not part of it, they could say, here's my $40,000, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
And done.
I don't love that.
Is there still an active RFP or,
Not at this time.
Not at this time, no.
oh, so we have time to change whatever we want?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir, we
right?
do.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And that's a 4-year contract then?
Yeah, and basically, it's a 4-year contract that is forgiven over 4 years. So if they do something the first year, they pay back 175, 50,
Incremental,
25.
right?
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm all for helping a business go in, giving them land for free if they're gonna build something awesome downtown. I'm all for that.
Right.
But we've also gotta protect the city. and protect
Absolutely.
what's going in. Okay. Grant status update. Amber Law, they've decided to cancel their grant. Everyone knows that she was killed in a car wreck.
Yeah.
And what our grants do say, that if you sell the building within the first year, you have to pay 100% of the grant back. And her husband is going to sell the building. So they've decided just to cancel their grant.
We're just waiting for it in writing. Legal has requested that he writes it in writing, an email or a letter to us stating that he is no longer asking for that reimbursement. And I've already sent that email out. I have not heard back from him, but we will reach back out to him again. That's what we're waiting for on that one.
Petty cardio. Casey had said, I don't know if you've seen the email on that, they were having problems with their contractor, and they're in a lawsuit, so they wanted to cancel their grant.
Okay.
So
I have
that's-
not run across that email yet, so that's probably something we're probably gonna need in writing as well, so I'll reach out to them.
If you'll kind of circle that petty cardio and call them.
Perfect.
And see what we need to do on that, because there was some sort of lawsuit with their contractor.
Who's the name, John?
Under construction, Icon Tavern. Equipment should be here in a couple weeks. It is moving forward, and it's moving really quick now.
I actually just got the updated contract with the amendment that we got for the suppression system, so that will go out for next
Under
couple days.
construction, Little McJack Properties.
That's done.
Is it complete inside and outside?
Yeah, I've been done for about 5 months now.
Okay.
I was
Oh,
done
wow.
before Halloween, actually.
Okay, on that, I believe we're waiting on
On
them.
receipts.
You may reach out to them and say, hey, do you want to get reimbursed?
So right next door to Izzy. So what happened on that, now can I talk about it since it's,
Yeah, you can't vote on it, but you
okay,
can talk on it.
but, so we finished that and he said, I got so much stuff going on, let me get all my stuff going, let the store go, then I'll get back with Casey so I can get my, turn in everything for the grant, cause I still gotta turn in paperwork to him to turn in.
Okay,
So he put it on hold till he got his wife going, and then whenever he called me and said, okay, I wanna get started, Casey was gone. So it's like, I said, so now let me get back in,
Yeah.
find out, get everybody back in the speed of things, get everything back in, then we'll get your paperwork rolling again. So he's okay with all of that, he knows what's going on, so we're good on that.
and I will say, I don't know a ton about the grants, I know enough to get myself in trouble, same with Elizabeth, she's learning a lot. But we met with Tina, was that her name?
Yes, from
Tina from legal. She's a legal assistant, she's not the city attorney. She has a lot of knowledge on these grants, a lot.
Oh, good.
And she gave us some lessons, and we had lots of questions about, can we do this, what can we do, and how can we do? I have also reached out to a few of the people on the ODC board, because I think part of the grants are stupid, and I told them that it does not cover lighting. I get it, we're not gonna pay for $1 million chandelier, but it does not cover any lighting, because they said that is not part of city code.
That's not true. You gotta have some level of lighting at exits,
Okay, no.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, exit lighting,
Lighting, period.
Yeah.
Hold on, exit lighting, emergency lighting is covered. A fluorescent light is not covered.
I see.
I will debate that.
Then I will need your help.
Cruz, if
You
you
need
wanna
an
give us,
emergency ballast, and if the power goes out, we need we need
It's-
4 of these lights to stay on to make it out of this room.
That is when I've talked to a couple with ODC and I said.
Wait, are we pro giving money or pro against giving
well,
money?
no, that's what I was about to say, Cruz, if you wanna give me extra money, I'm all with you.
Yeah,
I have no
same.
problems with
Same
it.
with me.
I have
when you say
zero
buildings,
problems with that.
He's ready for another amendment.
They will shut
We
your
can
place
change that.
down if you don't have exit lights.
Okay,
in
they will
backup.
pay for emergency lighting and exit lighting. That, our grants will pay for emergency lighting and exit lighting.
Okay.
But it won't pay for fluorescent lights. It won't pay for any other lighting.
but I think on there, it's just any kind of decorative lighting. So, I mean, by code, you gotta have lights or else you ain't gonna get a permit. So,
I have argued this with Casey. I have argued it with a couple on ODC, and they're supposed to get back with me.
so
Just have a
the
meeting.
only thing that has gone in is saying, we're not gonna, you know, if you want a $1,500 decorative light, we're not gonna pay for a
Right.
$1,500. We'll put a light, but we're not gonna put a 15, you know, so all the decorative, all the stuff that isn't structural, that isn't part of having that building open and running, you know, you wanna granite, you know, you want a high-grade granite on there, well, no, we're not pay for stuff like that. But I think it's more of the necessities in the building.
Casey and a person from ODC said, does not cover any lighting
At all.
except emergency lighting that is required by the fire department.
Interesting.
Yeah, so on the infrastructure part, it's basically just bringing the main power in, getting brand-new panels, meters, all of
Right.
that, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something I said, I get it, we're not gonna pay for $1,000 chandelier, but I think we can give them a $69 LED drop-in. So,
Or an amount, or a couple, you know,
so that's
up
when
to so many.
the person I talked to with ODC said, John, let's get together, let's discuss it. And if things need to change, I get it, it may need to change.
Sounds like wording on paper to me.
She said, if you can show me where code is, and I'm like, well, it's really, I mean, it's gonna be pretty scary, I mean, if we didn't have to have lights and anything, so I am working
She's
on
coming at
that
it from
too,
a
on the
legal
grants.
standpoint, though. Think
Right,
about it.
right, right.
She's a lawyer. She's coming at it from the legal standpoint.
So I'm working on that. Homemade wines, infrastructure and facade, where are we?
I have my paperwork back from all of our facade vendors, so I'll be submitting that pretty quickly. And then working on getting paperwork back from all my inside stuff.
Infrastructure.
Yes, since I was the general contractor, I have to get everyone that I had work on the job do their stuff.
Okay.
So it's a lot of people.
Okay, document on part 2, where are we?
I turned in the insurance. Everything's done. She said I just needed to turn the insurance, but then she said the one I turned in was the different insurance. You needed property insurance, I think, or something different.
The only thing I know is that you were missing a paper from the insurance, but I
Oh,
can,
no, my insurance company emailed it directly to her, and she goes, I don't think that's the one I need.
to Casey?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go back and find that email
Okay.
then.
And will you check with legal and ask what else we need on it, if there's a certain thing?
If
that
there's
we
a
could-
certain insurance, because I sent her the building insurance, everything on it, but I guess I'm,
Okay,
Okay,
I can definitely do that.
okay. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, one more thing. Going back to the tacos and tequila. I know last year, and I know it's probably a lot to throw on you, Elizabeth, right now, but we had a lot of businesses that they were charging, how much was it a person that they were charging to get into that event?
$25,
I think it was like $35, something like that. A lot of the businesses that were inside of that their business was very slow because people were paying $25 to $35 to get into the event. And then they weren't going to the restaurants because they were going
They
to
already had
wherever.
spent the money.
Yeah, so the restaurants suffered because of that. So we need to make sure that somehow people have access to those restaurants without having to pay those fees to get into the event, because there were a couple of
Okay.
restaurants that had complained about that to me, that they just didn't do any
Makes sense.
business, because you're not gonna pay if you have your children and you pay $25 a pop, that's, you say you got 2 kids, that's 4 people. If you pay $100 to get in, you're not gonna go to the restaurant and spend another $100 to eat when you just spent that
But
going
this
in. So
event
we've
would have
gotta-
been fenced off because of the alcohol,
Right,
correct?
right.
Okay.
So we need to
That
make
makes
sure that they
sense.
have access to the restaurants.
What we may look
How
at,
we do that.
instead of doing that on Grant again, because Grant's really hard to close.
Yeah.
And I thought the only thing we were gonna do on Grant is the Fandango
Fandango.
and the Christmas parade. We're trying to move everything to Texas.
Okay,
And that way, if we move them down Texas, we're not too worried about any bars or restaurants except homemade wine. And homemade wine does have a side door. So if the side door is available, they can go in that way to get in their business.
Okay.
Which was smart when they did the other tacos and tequila, the house. They just told their customers a couple days before, our back door will be open, come in the back door.
okay.
And I think they did okay. They did okay. So a lot of times it's true, it's training your clients also. But it did hurt the sidebar, it hurt some other ones, because it was super expensive. So,
Yeah, if you have 3 kids, that's $125.
Oh, easy, yeah. And you spend it to get in, you're not gonna go to, oh, hey, let's go to the restaurant too, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I will, because, you know, whatever my kids want, they get, but whether I have the money or not, you know, when you run into the situation of people coming in for these events, and
Yeah,
they're like,
I
wait a
hear
minute, we have
ya.
to pay to get in, then go pay again to eat, yeah, it's not gonna, we
Yeah,
just
that would
gotta
be
make
very
sure they have
frustrating if I
access,
was a
yeah.
restaurant
Yeah.
there.
Any other questions or concerns?
I think something that comes to my mind, if there's not an organized effort to have like a play committee or kind of volunteer committee to help in assisting Elizabeth with organizing these events, as a board, should we like look at the calendar and then maybe have I guess a workshop or some type of committee meeting each month prior to an event, so we can discuss and. Oh, okay.
I think
Yeah.
we should definitely keep play committee, because that's where a lot of things are discussed more in detail, like they don't care what the prizes are you're doing, I mean, and how you're stuffing an egg, but the play committee does. So the play committee is more on your events. Also, when you send out the play committee invites, send it to all board members. If you wanna show up, great. If you don't, it's okay also.
Yeah.
I respect input if people are there to give it, right? I think we're all that way.
We need all the help we can get.
Should we send those invites also, since it's not just committee, to all of council, in case they want to participate?
Yeah, I mean.
On that play
why not?
committee. We can only have how many council members?
Without a quorum, but they'll know ahead, and you'll know they'll communicate. Just ask them to respond back and see if they're going to attend.
Or you can make half of them stand in the hall and tell them, okay, sit down in the middle.
You've been here for an hour, you need to leave.
Yeah, get out, we need the other ones. Or when they don't show up, we will volunteer them for stuff.
Nice.
That's why I was thinking you might invite them, that way
Yeah.
they have an opportunity to be there.
Yeah.
Before they get voluntold.
Anything
Well,
else,
real
guys?
quickly, yeah, what type of, who can you tap into? What type of base, what type of pool do you have just for volunteers? What do you work with?
We have had a lot of problems with volunteers.
Okay?
The Texas Scholars has signed up and helped quite a bit. Years ago, we're gonna give you a free t-shirt, so everybody showed up to volunteer. It doesn't happen anymore.
Or we get commitment, but the groups don't show up.
Right. We do have that a lot, that they say they're gonna come but don't show up. One of the things we've done, we did on the Christmas parade, you'll do it at Fandango and a few others. We work with Keep Odessa Beautiful, because used to we had volunteers pick up trash. They don't show up anymore. So now we're basically paying a nonprofit group to pick up our trash.
I was
So
about to
I
say,
know-
for the picking up the trash, did you think about teen court?
Idea?
We can ask, but we've.
Because it's free and they get their hours at the same time, those kids do. They have to work so many hours. And they pick up trash certain Saturdays, even on some of the cold Saturdays.
So,
Just a
volunteers,
thought.
we've always had a problem with volunteers, the last, 4 or 5 years.
Well, and if we keep going with the play committee, ideas like what you just brought up, if they're put on the table, we can start probing them, right?
So you can
But
probably
I
talk to
agree.
Swanner about that, right? You can talk
Is
to
there
him.
an age limit for volunteers?
No,
A minimum, I guess?
no,
No.
child labor, is that what you're saying?
I think in local high
Teaching,
schools,
yeah.
they do have to make up hours sometimes for different things.
But you may talk to Denise Swanner about that also, Councilman Swanner. Councilwoman Swanner.
In court?
And
Yep.
see how that is.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Anything else for me?
It is 12:04.
Excellent.
You missed that, don't you?